Good morning, good morning. Happy Thursday, everybody. I hope you are well. My top knot is wonky this morning, and I washed my hair last night, which means that it's all fluffy and floppy. Not that you'll be arsed. I understand that you still love me anyway, regardless of whether I've got a fluffy top knot. How are you all doing? Come on in, come and get a cuddle. Who is going to be first off the mark today? Who is going to be first off the post? Come on in. Who is watching this morning? We are streaming across 4 places this morning. We're on my personal profile, Danny Wallace. We are on the IATQB Hive. If you are watching in the Hive, make sure you give StreamYard permission for us to see your name and you're not just Facebook user. Good morning. We've got Jen. Amy is first off the mark this morning. Good morning, Jen. Hi, Kimberly. How are you? How are we all doing? Come on, come and say hello. Good morning, Diane Ivory is in the house. Hello, hello. Good morning, Annie. Hey, Kath. How are we doing? We've got a Facebook user. Do me a favor, Facebook user. If you go to the top of like the title of the live, you can give StreamYard permission for us to see who you are, and then you won't be Facebook user anymore. You will be you. How are we all feeling? How are we all feeling? I slept like the dead last night. I got so a couple of weeks ago, I tried out a weighted blanket for the first time. And I loved it. And I was like a kid. I was walking around the house with this weighted blanket on me. I would go for a nap with the weighted blanket. I took the weighted blanket to bed with me. When I was sat on the settee, I'd have the weighted blanket on me. Honestly, I was like a child with this blanket. I thought, right. So it was my sister's. So I ordered one from my friend, A Perfect Touch of Home. A business called A Perfect Touch of Home. I think it was like 50 quid. And again, I used it last night and I slept like the dead. So much so that it kind of got to like 6:30 this morning. I'm like, I can't move anymore. I'm just dead comfy. I don't want to move. Have any of you tried weighted blankets? Have any of you tried them? What have been your experience? I know some people feel like dead claustrophobic. Have you felt claustrophobic? Have you got one? What are your thoughts? Tell me in the comments. But in the meantime, welcome to Thursday. Happy Thursday, everybody. We had a small disaster this morning. I'm sat down here and I'm just getting backstage. We've got our incredible guest this morning, Hilary Dunne. And all of a sudden, to the right of me, there was this like pop. And my ring light broke. The power pack. It's a good job, really, because if it didn't pop like that, there'd have been a fire. It must have overheated. I don't know. But yeah, it went with a bang this morning. And now I'm only lit on one side of my face. Look. I've had to kind of adjust the lighting and the shading so that I've got all right lighting. Annie loves her weighted blanket. I love it. Honestly, I'm walking around with it like a child. Although it's dead heavy. It's like 8 kilos, the whole thing altogether. Kimberly, no, but I like the idea of a weighted blanket. It's like having a hook. It's lovely. Yeah, I know, Nishma, right? Like, it wasn't an oh gosh. I was like, shit the bed, what was that? I think even Hilary heard it. Oh, she must have heard it and gone like, what did pop? And I was like, my ring light did pop, is what happened. Diane, do you use a weighted blanket instead of a duvet? Well, you can. You can use a weighted blanket instead of a duvet. But I was a little colder last night because the weight doesn't necessarily generate heat. Especially if it's a lightweight one, which is like the one that I've got. So I had it over my duvet last night, so I was like super snuggly. Good morning, Eleanor. 2 hours sleep dull in Bangor. I think I would feel. Yeah, lots of people do feel claustrophobic. I do understand it. The whole idea behind it is that it's from a sensory processing point of view. It helps the body understand its relation to the rest of the world, which is pretty cool, right? That sometimes, especially if you're feeling anxious, there's a disconnect with your body and how your body is connecting with everything. Whereas if you've got a weighted blanket on, it helps you feel grounded. Your body understands where it is in connection with the world. So I get how that works. I understand how that would work and help with sensory processing. Yes, you can do. Depends how big it is. Mine's a bit warm because it's plastic beads. Glass beads are better and cooler, but way more expensive. Sometimes there's bamboo filling in as well, which is different. Could have done with your weighted blanket. You stayed in a fishing cabin. Is that part of His Majesty's 50th birthday celebrations? In a fishing cabin? Are you? And you just sleep with it at night? Yeah, it's a blanket. Put it on. It's like you don't have to do anything with it. Just put it on. You're just a blanket. I want to show you, but I'm not going to. We're going to carry on with this. But yes, I slept very well last night, but so much so I struggled getting up. I was like, oh, I could just stay in bed. I've had a really long 3 days back to back with like 14, 15-hour days. Not that there is a badge of honor in that. I understand that I need to look after myself and my hours much better. We're all interested in this. I knew we would be. Is it hot? I have a one tog all year round because I'm like a furnace. I've just ordered a grounding bed sheet. Yeah, it's not. It's. I wouldn't describe it as hot. It's heavy and it's like you. I think my body. Wallace does not like it. He's a hot bod. Like there's something wrong with his thermostat. He's constantly set to hot. He's always sweating. He's got fans on his desk. He's got fans in front room. If he could have air conditioning on, he'd have it on all the time, and he does not like it. It's not a thing for him. I need more sleep, Diana. That could be the answer. Do it. Give it a try. Let me look. I'll get my friend to pop the link to it. It was about £49. It's a big blanket though. You know, they're not scrimping on the blanket size. Good morning, Tracy. Told me she's feeling tired today. It just feels like a little bit of a lull today, but do you know what? We can cope with it. We're all right. So right, come on then, you lot. Tell me. Stick your head out the window. The Great British Connector is the weather. Tell me, what's the weather doing out where you are in the world? Tell me. We've got a lovely global audience. I know that we've the south of France that tune in. We have New Zealand. We have Austria. We have Las Vegas. Today, there is potential for sunshine out there in Preston. I don't think it's ready for a scorchio. We are going to go for it. It's a bit shit. How are we doing where you are? Stick your head out the window. Let me know. We've got 3 weather bees. We're going to be ordering some more weather bees to be more representative of the weather out there, the more diverse weather that we do have. It's a bit shit in Derbyshire this morning. Sandra, good morning, my darling. Let's get that in the middle there, Derbyshire. Smack bang in the middle, up towards the north a little bit there, isn't it? What is it like where you are? North, south, east, west. It's dull in Bangor. It's a bit shit in Bangor. And the south of Wales in Bangor, is that right? Oh, is my geography getting better, by the way? It's raining in Hawarden, North Wales. Beth, what's the weather like where you are in the USA? We've got a rainy bee. It's rain near Warrington. God damn it. Like North Wales was a sort of Cheshire area. Let's sort that out with a little bit of a rainy bee there. Worcestershire. It's overcast. Same as mine. It's a bit shit, Kimberley, where you are. It's hissing it down in Cheshire. It's great in Suffolk. So it's a bit shit in Suffolk. There we go. Over here. Over here. This is Suffolk. Why do I keep getting... This is Norfolk. This is Suffolk. It's got to be over here, hasn't it? I'm going to stick it there, see what's what. Cool, cloudy and breezy. I don't have a bee to represent that. Cool, cloudy and breezy is a bit shit. It's not Scorchio, is it? It's hot in Alabama. Scorchio. We're going to represent our international bees underneath the compass just here. That is the Alabama bee right there. It is Scorchio over there. It's a bit up. A bit up. Is that better? I'm going to pop it there. Not that I'm a weather girl, not that I'm very good at geography. It doesn't really matter. All we're doing is having a little talk about the weather this morning because that's what us British people do. It is not a science. In fact, the best science you can have is dealing in real, into just popping your head out at the window and going, you know what? It's sunny this morning, or it's rainy this morning, or it's snowy, or it's blowy, or it's a bit shit if you're in the UK, because probably that's what it is for the most part, apart from the 10 weeks of summer that we had from the start of lockdown in March, which is strange, but that's what we got. All right, so it's a bit shit in the north of London. Let's put this here then. Let's do this. There we go. London representing. If you are watching anywhere else in the world, please do let me know. So we can represent you under the compass over here in the sea, because we started out being just a national little fake telly show, and now we're an international fake telly show because, you know, one day, my pretties, someone will put me on the telly box. Okay. This morning, we have got our fabulous guest. I'm so excited to share her with you. She works in the similar field, but in a different job to me. And one of the things that we talk about within the IATQB Hive is collaboration over competition every single time. And we're going to be talking about that this morning. We're going to be talking about the incredible work that she does. So please, in lieu of the applause button, hit the like, hit the love, hit the share button as we welcome onto the Show Up, Wise Up, Rise Up show this morning, Hilary Dunne.
Hey, how are you? Yeah, I love that intro. You do that every morning.
just as you enter the kitchen every morning, you've got me in the background just bringing you on.
There's a business opportunity there, Dani.
Is it just recording things, like recording entrances for people into their homes?
Morning intros, morning business intros. Yeah.
Good morning, Hilary. Thank you so much for joining us on the show this morning. I know it's a bit of an early start.
No problem. I've already walked the dogs 3 miles. This is like, I'm ready for lunch.
She's had half a day already. Look, I just rolled out of bed. I just put my makeup on dead quick backstage because I slept so well underneath my weighted blanket, Hilary.
I know, it sounds it. Good on you.
Have you had any experience with a weighted blanket?
Never.
Have you not? I am here for it. I am definitely here for a little weighted, well, it's not little, it's massive, big bloody weighted blanket. My daughter's very much for a blanket as well. She always has been since she was tiny. So she's 10 now, but she's like a little old lady. She's got like a sofa blanket. She sits snuggled up on the sofa. She can't just sit on the sofa without one. And now I feel like her. I feel like I'm just walking around like a child with this cuddle blanket that I need. So, Hilary, there is only a loose format to this show. The first thing that we generally talk about is how we met, how we came across each other. The second thing we talk about is what you do, and the third thing we sort of meander around is how you came to do what you do. And I'm really interested and excited to share with everybody what it is that you do, because what you do is so helpful, particularly for helping people share their business and their mission message. So first of all, how did we come across each other? How long have we known each other now? It's not that long.
Not very long at all. It must be about 5 months, maybe.
Yeah.
It's gone quite quickly, hasn't it? Has it been
bloody
that long?
hell. Yeah. So
6 months, maybe.
Since middle of January.
Yeah.
Middle of January.
We're July now, aren't we? Where are we in July?
Bloody hell.
Early July.
Wow.
Yeah.
You're blinking and you're missing it. This lockdown is sending everybody's timelines a bit skewy. Like I'm sat here on a Thursday and already it's another Thursday. I'm thinking like, where is the rest of that week just gone?
Yeah.
So we're in the same mastermind together, aren't we? We're in one of Lisa Johnson's masterminds. And it is lovely. It's lovely to have been able to meet people within the inside, I guess, of the industry which I work. So tell us more about what you do.
Yeah, sure. So my main business is the brand Activators. So that is an events management company, but I also feature a speaker bureau in there. And the reason that I started the company 3 years ago was because for the past 25 years, I've been managing pretty big events around the country and internationally as well. And I've worked with so many amazing people who have become speakers and are out there sharing their story, that the impact that they have on their audiences is just amazing. So I had this black book of speakers and suppliers from the industry, and I was like, I want to get back and run my own business again. And, I want to get back and help people and give to people. And that's what speaking does to me, because I watch the impact that happens when a speaker gets on that stage and the change he makes or she makes to the right audience, and not for everybody. You've got to get the right speaker for the right audience. Yeah. It's incredible. It's absolutely game changing. So I love to put the speakers on the stage to make that help people see that transformation that these speakers can give. Yeah. So I got in touch with a few of my good speakers from days gone by, and one of the first couple of people I spoke to was Sir Ranulph Fiennes, the most notorious explorer of our time, and he was my very first speaker that I ever booked, which was like 20 odd years ago. And I got in touch with him and I said, hiya, Ranulph, hope you're well. As you do. Hiya, how are you doing? I hope you're well. And I said, you're not going to remember this, but 20 years or so ago, I invited you to come and speak up in the Northeast at a big event in a big old nightclub that was falling apart, but we made it look fantastic. And anyway, you were brilliant. And I just wondered, if you would be interested in being in my bureau. And he came back to me and I said, you probably won't remember me. And he came back to me and he went, hi, Hilary. He said, you're right. I don't remember you. He said, but I do remember that job. He said, that was like amazing. We'd filled it with over 1,000 entrepreneurs within the region as, a really key business event. It was all a bit different and we made it look amazing. So I'm pleased it was rememberable to him after all of that. So, and he said to me, you know, yeah, you're right, I don't remember you, but I'd be absolutely delighted to be on the bureau with you. So he was like my first anchor speaker. And then I brought in Michelle Moan, who I'd worked with previously, Bear Grylls, who I've worked with as well. So I've got some like real high-end speakers, you know, that are
there is no effing about on your lineup, is there? If you look in your black book of people who work with and for you, you know, we're not messing about. In fact, when we were creating the big festoon weeks ago now, and I remember thinking, right, so we need 12 celebrities and 12 entrepreneurs. I'm not entirely sure how well connected I am, and we've managed to do a bit, but I was like, I saw Tessa Sanderson was on your lineup, and I was like, I would die. I remember messaging you going, Hilary, I would die if we got Tessa Sanderson on our lineup, and I was, you know, desperate for it. And we had this, you were so helpful, and in the run-up, it was like the 11th hour, like nailing Tessa Sanderson down, even though we'd spoke about it weeks previously. It was that week. And there was the incredible lady who is the founder of the Mobo Awards, or there's Tessa Sanderson. King. Yeah. And we were like,
amazing.
Right at the 11th hour, we finally got Tessa Sanderson over the line, and it was the jewel in the crown for the big festoon. You know, it was such an honor to be able to speak to Tessa, and you know, she's a multi-Olympian, and she's such a bloody lovely person as well. Yeah. She was just like fabulous.
Yeah.
But this is the quality of people that you deal with. These are the quality of speakers that you deal with on the regular basis. You've got so many. Like, give us a few more examples of people that you've got that that you share with the world.
Oh God, I always get asked this. There's just loads.
Bloody loads.
I've got there's like over 70, but you know that. The big names are amazing. Kanya King is absolutely amazing, you know, founder of the Mobo Awards and what she's done. It's absolutely fantastic. But, you know, at the other end of the scale, I represent speakers who have done some, you know, amazing things that have, you know, I've got a lady, Cressie Wesling, she's just absolutely phenomenal. So she works in the circular economy. So it's all about recycle and bring back into life. You know, it's that whole sustainable piece. Yeah. She works in that sector. And what she did, she came across fire hoses that the London Fire Brigade used that were decommissioned because they had holes in them, right? So they couldn't do anything with them. So they were all tipped. And obviously rubber is a really difficult substance to work with. Yeah. And to, you know, it's not great for landfill, put it that way. So Cressie wanted to do something with that fire hose to make that, you know, more usable and bring it back to life. Yeah. So with her partner, they created luxury handbags out of fire hose, and 50% of everything they sell goes to the fireman's charity. And now they have Burberry working with them. Yeah, Burberry are working with them because in Burberry and organisations like that and Mulberry, so much of that rubber and leather hits the floor because it's offcuts. Yeah. So what they do, they take those and they make them into luxury goods. And now they're making mats, small cubes that you can sit on, chairs. The handbag range is amazing. So
I want one of the handbags. I've not even seen them now. I want one of those handbags just because of the story. But that's the power of people's stories, isn't it? That's the power of sharing what it is that you do. So what you did there is you shared the story of why it is, you know, that Cressie's doing what she's doing and how she's brought all that together. And now I've not looked at a handbag that I want to buy. That's the power of sharing. Like, if you've got something powerful that you know, your business or your mission message, it's so important in terms of helping people. And that's, you know, one of the things that I say when, you know, I've got speakers that are just starting out in the world and they want to tweak their content and they really want to share their story. If you do that in a really compelling way, you can change the world. You can change people, like you said, change people's lives, have a massive impact, and it's phenomenal. What brought you to events? Because it's never a straight line to events, is it?
Never. So one thing I will say quickly is if anybody wants to check out Cressie's website, it's cressieandelvis.co.uk. So have a look on there and have a look at their story. I think, you'd be surprised. And what I would just add is that they never started out to be speakers. They started out to change their little bit of the world that they could, and how they've developed that. She is now on the speaker circuit as a result of what she's done. So I think if we all think about that, let's get the business right, let's get what we want to achieve in life right, and from that your story will develop that people want to hear, and you will have something to teach.
And that's it. And closed mouths don't get fed.
Exactly.
So the more you speak about your business and your mission, the more people that will bring, the more that people will come to you. I've got right, Hilary, I'm going to share these whilst we're together. I've just had a quick look. I'm going to pop these up on the screen so everybody can see. These are fit. Look, hang on a sec. Wait, I've got to show everybody. Right, where are we? We're in StreamYard. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to move you over here.
God knows what she's going to show.
We're handbag shopping. We didn't know we were going to do this morning. Right, share screen. Right, are you ready for these handbags, you lot?
Is this Cressie's?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Look at these.
Yeah.
Hang on a minute. I found the black and yellow one. They are some sassy handbags.
And that's recycled. Go down a bit, Dani.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah, no, other way. Sorry.
Oh.
So this one here at the top, in women's collection, as it says. So you can see how that handbag has been pieced together, piece by piece, and they're all offcuts that would normally just hit the floor and hit the bin.
My God. And then they're now luxury items. And
yeah.
I just think they're brilliant. Oh, look at this one. Right. I'm not gonna make us back not whilst, but we've got other important. I'm not signing up to the newsletter right now. Look at this though. It's a little bit of me that right. Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing my screen. We'll shop for handbags later on.
So that's a great example, though. That's a great example. You'd look at that website and you wouldn't think that the owner of that, the co-owner of that, was a speaker, but actually her story and getting to that.
It's really a story compelling.
There. Yeah, that people will pay for. People pay to hear her speak.
Yeah. Absolutely. So let's get to events then, because it is a wider umbrella, isn't it? And events are not for the faint-hearted.
Yeah, agree. Totally agree. Yeah.
What brought you to that?
So I got into events because I was working for a local enterprise agency who helped people start and grow their business, and I went in to sell advertising in a business magazine, commission only. I was looking for a job. I'd just been made redundant, and I was pregnant. I was made redundant, and then a week later I found out I was pregnant. I was like, oh, Jesus, I need to get a job and quick. So I saw this job, commission only. So I approached them and they said, no, you've got no experience. So I said, well, just see how I go. Just don't pay me for a month and let's see how I go type thing.
Yeah.
Because I was just interested in this whole entrepreneur, people starting in business, how they got started and all that. I thought, I need to work with these people. Right. So I went and worked free for a month. Anyway, I found I was pretty good at sales.
Yeah.
And you know what? I still use the same techniques that I did back 25 years ago that I'm using today, which is to pick up the phone, build relationships, create opportunities that people want to buy, create opportunities that people want to be a part of. And from that, I got into creating events because people started to buy advertising space off me. I remember my car broke down, and it was a right old battered car, and it broke down. I was like, crap, how am I going to get to work? I've got appointments to do. Yeah. So I came up with this idea of going to a dealership that I sold the advertising to, one of my clients. And I said, I've got a great opportunity for you. How about you put me in a car that's got your branding all over it, the magazine's branding all over it, and I'll drive it about for you when I go out on my appointments. And they were like,
give me a car.
And they were like, that's a great idea. I was like, yeah, isn't it?
That's right. That's a brilliant idea. I love your car. Thank you.
Yeah. So I gave them an extra page. They had the back page of the magazine, and I gave them an extra page for an advertorial. And they loved it. So then we were getting on so well, I thought I need to do a bit more for these people, because they were changing the car every 6 weeks for me. So I was getting this brand new car every 6 weeks. I wasn't bothered it had branding on, because people were ringing the magazine and wanted to be in the magazine, editorial advertising, that sort of thing. So I thought I've got to do something else to keep them, keep the flow going here and get other people on board. So
and you can find your car in a car park when it's stickered up, can't you?
Exactly.
So it's actually helpful. You're standing out.
Yeah, absolutely. I had no problem. My husband wasn't keen. I had no problem.
You're on the inside of the car, it doesn't matter.
Exactly. So so that's what I did. And then I created a couple of events for them, because I wanted to give them more opportunities to find more customers, that then they would come back to me and spend more money with me. It's a really simple theory, but that worked really well. And that's how I got into events. So I started to create bespoke events for people. And then through the enterprise agency, we created an event in Darlington for people to start up in business. And I had this great idea. We'll have this expo, we'll create this expo, and we'll ask all the local businesses, professional services, that type of thing, your accountants, your photocopiers, your car dealers, your solicitors, everybody, come along, take a stand, they pay for that. And I'll invite all the local businesses, all the wannabe entrepreneurs to come. So I went to the local newspaper. I said, could you sponsor this by giving me some advertorial, give me a wrapper on the paper? They were like, yeah, like the idea of that. If we can have a stand. Yeah. And then I went to the local council and I said, I've got all these people come in. They've got the non-eco on board, blah, 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 blah. Will you sponsor it? And they said, how much do you need? And I said, 15 grand. And they were like, yeah, okay, we'll give you that. I was like, okay. Right. So, and that's where my event career began, really. And then from that, I worked with the agency for 11 years. They took me on full time after they could see that I knew what I was about. And we did events all over the UK. We worked for the National Federation of Enterprise Agencies. We did their national events, their national conference, and off the back of that, I created a big directory for everybody. So we had a good sell-up opportunities in there. So for me, events it's not just about the end game, putting on the event. It's about the journey in developing your relationship with your client and what you can do with your client to create opportunities for them. That is the real key in all of that. And so I finished with the enterprise agency after a good few years, because I'd been there, seen it and done it. We'd done major conferences, dinners, award ceremonies, expos, all that businessy stuff. And my kids were getting a bit older, and I spotted a real gap in the market with creative kids parties. So I said to my husband, I'm going to go start my own business. And he was like, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to have a kids party company. Do you know this story, Dani?
I know it does. Why don't I know this? We've had phone calls with friends.
Yeah.
Why don't I know this story?
So I said to my husband, no, I'm sick of going to church halls every week and watching these parties happen. I said, they're just crap.
Shit parties with bouncy castle and a buffet table.
Yeah, so I was like, I'm going to start a creative kids party company, and I'm going to call it Wild Childs. So he's like, no, don't do that. So I did do that.
That's what my husband says to me all the time. I'm like, yeah, I did. I'm like you. My husband goes, don't do that. Well, I did do that. And that's what happened.
Yeah. When they say don't do it, to me, that's like, well, I'm doing that then.
Can't do that. So, watch me.
Yeah. So I said, I'll tell you what, I'll prove the concept. So I spent quite a time creating all these amazing props. I got really arty, and I'm not that arty really, but I love transformation at an event. You know what I mean? I like things to look amazing.
Yeah.
So I created all these props, and I used my kids. Libby was 6 at the time, and no, she was 5, and Tom was about 9. So I had a girl and a boy at good ages for parties. So brilliant. They were my test beds. So I put on a party for Libby, and I put a fairy party on, and I dressed as a pink fat fairy at the church hall. And my husband walked in, and he was like, no, what are you doing? What are you doing? I was like, it's working. This is going to be great. So what started as me as a pink fairy.
I need to see pictures of this.
Do we have
pictures?
Oh my God, tons. 11 years. I had the business for 11 years, and what started as a kids party company became a big family creative party company. Right. And we were running events from created 8 different bespoke kids parties that were the bread and butter of the kids parties. But then we got into working with the retail agents and putting in Santa's grottos into shopping centres. We did big outdoor tourist attraction events. We worked with people like Duncan Bannatyne on their wedding, on their celebrity events, had a venue styling division. I had a huge big game hire that we used for team building events for corporates. We did a lot of like Wild West casino nights, masquerade balls, did a lot of wedding work. So literally from birth to death, I've got to say, because I had a floristry division that was quiet in the week because we did a lot of wedding work. So I thought the funeral market, they need flowers.
They
so
absolutely do.
Literally. So I had this huge.
So you're looking after hatches and dispatches.
Yeah, we did it all.
Amazing. So then what happened?
I planned to franchise that. That was my big plan to franchise it. I spent a year getting the model ready, spending a fortune getting it. And when it got to it, I was like, I don't want to be in charge of a lot of franchisees. That's not what I want. I want to be.
You're managing people. Then,
I didn't want that. And I was like, stop, it's not happening. So took a good hard look at stuff. And, you know, the kids had grown up with the business. Paul, my husband, had been amazing in the business. He looked after the sort of the big heavy kit and all the biggest stuff for that for me. The mans and the vans and everything that went with that.
It's long being in events. It's a vocation. You don't get all of the time that everybody else has to themselves. In events, you don't get to yourselves. They're long hours and they're antisocial hours and they're weekends and they're holidays and they're all of those things. When everybody's enjoying themselves, the events companies are the ones that help people enjoy themselves.
Yeah, you're never off duty.
No,
it's crazy. And especially when all that venue styling came up for the wedding world, it just it went huge. And don't get me wrong, it's a great industry to be in. So I decided I was going to close that business. We closed that business, sold it off as little businesses. And I went back into corporate for a while I figured out what I was going to do next. I thought I'll just go and do a little bit of project management, see how I feel, see where I sit. Yeah. 4 years later, I was their events director. I was running an events portfolio over £1 million for them. We put on an event called Made, the Entrepreneur Festival, which was voted #1 of the top 10 conferences in the world to attend by entrepreneur.com. We had massive success with that. I did international trade missions, all sorts of big corporate events, award dinners, the works, back at it. And then I thought, what am I doing? Get back and start your own business.
Right.
So that's what I did. The Brand Activators was born.
So what happens with the Brand Activators now? All these things that you did for these other companies, you do for yourself. And that so many people do that, because what you end up doing is you bring all of your skills and expertise to get paid a wage to pay somebody else, when actually you can grow profits, and then you can take the glass ceiling away from yourself when you run a business to that effect, right?
Yeah.
So how long ago was that?
So I'm about to go into my 3rd year with the Brand Activators. So obviously I've been in business a few times before, as I've just talked about. So that was all quite straightforward. But I wanted to do something that would be along the coaching line. Yeah. Originally, when I was younger, I'd always wanted to be a teacher. But I'm dyslexic, so that wasn't great really at the time. There wasn't much talk about. So that's why I'm really practical. I prefer to be like in a van or behind the scenes. And events have suited me really well because I am amazing behind the scenes. And so it all make it great. I'm not one who wants to be on the stage. That doesn't float my boat. But what I love to do is find the talent to put on stages. So that's what I do now. So I work with entrepreneurs. I work with sports people. I work with all sorts of different people, business owners, leaders, experts, coaches, consultants, and I help get them on the stage and get them paid for speaking.
Yeah, absolutely. And so you have a group, so when you go to your website and you sign up to your email list, you can have 100 places that you can go and speak at, like your freebies. Incredible for people who are wanting to get out there and wanting to learn about what are these stages on which I speak. The first thing, people, it's particularly entrepreneurs, and I work particularly with entrepreneurs who want to speak, and they're asking themselves, where do I speak? So my area of expertise is helping people create excellent content.
Yeah.
And then once they've done that, they kind of go, okay, so I've got all this content. Now what? And what you are incredible at is knowing what to do with that.
Yeah, finding their home.
And their audiences and
Yeah.
all of this sort of stuff. And
Yeah.
So tell us more about your group, because you have a group, don't you, that people can join and they can learn more about speaking, and they can learn more about what it is that you do.
Yeah, sure. So the group, it's a Facebook group, and it's called Step Up, Stand Out.
Yep.
And really, that's what it's all about.
Right.
So going right back to how I originally was able to get business and people to work with me was to become known for who I was and what I did.
Yes.
And it really is as simple as that for speakers. Once they've got their talk, their keynote, their masterclass, whatever it is that they want to be doing, or a signature talk, once they've got that honed, then they need to know who it is that's for, who they're speaking to, where to find them, how to look after them, and how to nurture them.
Right.
And it's simple steps, but it takes time to do.
Right.
And in creating your talk, the first thing you need to do is know, who is this for? It's not just about getting your own story out there.
Yes. Many people say it. I want to tell my story. Why? Why do you want to tell your story? Who gives a shit? But not that nobody gives a shit. People don't. If I was to stand up on stage and go, okay, so I was born on the council estates Preston, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this happened, and then this. I'm just talking about myself. I might just as well be massaging my own ego, standing on the stage. If I'm not giving anything, and if I'm giving something, you've got to work out who to. And why do they give a shit?
Yeah. And that's the point. Your talk has to give.
Yeah.
Whether it's a transformation, a learning, inspiration, whatever it is, it has to have a meaning.
Yeah.
And once you've got that sorted, then that's where I can come in and help you.
Yeah, absolutely. It's like when you're a speaker, you've got a bus, and you're the bus driver, and your talk is the bus. And you get people on your bus, but you've got to take them to a destination. You've got to get them somewhere. They've got to go through a transformation with you off the back of you speaking. So when people, who have incredible stories, and or people have had incredible lives, and their mates go, oh, you should write a book, or you should go and speak about this. That's fine. But if you don't have a destination, it's a Jackanory. You're just telling a story, and it's not compelling enough to be able to sell, because everybody's got a story. Everybody's got a story.
Yeah.
And it becomes, as soon as everybody realizes that it's a transaction, that you're giving, that's what it is, then it's a bit easier. But then knowing people like you who know what it's like on the inside, who know what it's like to connect, who has a black book, like I don't know what, I mean that. I'm all right connected. You are hyper connected. People, if they want to do this, they need to be in your world. They have to be in your world. Like, let me know in the comments, you guys, is this something that you've been thinking about? Because you need to get in Hilary's group and understand about this. Like, I've got my previous clients that have been through Be Inspired, Be Heard, So You Want to Be a Speaker, that needs to be around you so that they can that they can learn more about, all right, we've got all this stuff. That's great. Let's go get us on some fucking stages.
And that's where we perfectly complement one another. Because you do that groundwork with them. You get them to that place where they know who they want to serve. They know what they can give. They know where they sit in the world. And that bit of work has been done. And that talk is there, ready to go. I can then support in, right, if we're going to take this to the next level, which is where we look to get you more visible, we need to get you out on stages, we need to get some recommendation, you need to build a portfolio behind you, you need to get some testimonials behind you, you need to get some nice company badges on there to, there's to show who you've worked for. Like I do when I talk, and like you do, we talk about, we've talked about Tesla, we've talked about Kanye, we've talked about Bear Grylls, we've talked about, I could rattle off companies that we've done that for.
All of those people.
So immediately people think, God, I must know my stuff. I don't, but
We're all winging it. We don't really know.
Exactly. But you need to do that work before you can say, right, okay, I'm now ready to get paid for this because I've got these badges on my website.
Right.
You should have a website, in my opinion. You should have somewhere where you can put as your, that's your photo album, that's your speaker box, that is your platform to use and to share.
Yeah. And it's, again, it's, just because you've got a story doesn't necessarily mean you're ready to be paid for it. It's a long journey, isn't it, to get paid to be a speaker? It's a long journey to get paid the good money to be a speaker. It's not an overnight thing.
Yeah, and great examples of this are, like Cressie, she wasn't well known at all, but she's built her business. She has used marketing to help her in that, building her profile, working with PR, trying to get her story out there, collaborations with the likes of Mulberry and Burberry, for instance. They're all things that are really newsworthy. Now, she could have kept quiet about everything that she was doing, but she's recognized, how important marketing is and building your press presence. So that's what she's got on and done. Anybody can do that. We can all be doing that. If she's passionate about what she does, that's another really important thing. But then you've got the likes of Tessa Sanderson, who was a huge, well-known person, Ranulph is, Bear is. There's quite a lot of people like that. And it's easier for them to get speaking because they have only, they're well-known. For example, Bear Grylls charges £65,000 for a 45-minute keynote.
Yeah.
Just to give you, the scale of where you can
mental,
be.
Isn't it? And
he's got profile, he's on TV.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's one of those. There is no way on God's green earth. So I say to you, right, Hilary, so I'm gonna work with you, we're gonna work together now because I'm dead good. I don't know if you know, but we're gonna work together now. I want £65,000 for this gig, and you're gonna tell me to fuck off because because I'm good, but I'm not that good yet. Or it's not that I'm not that good. I don't have the profile that creates that leverage for the return on investment for having me. So if somebody's putting Bear Grylls on their stage, they know that there's going to be a return on investment for having the draw of Bear Grylls on their stage. So it makes sense to pay that kind of money. If I am putting myself, I'm saying, hey, come and have me on your stage, their company would have to think about what's their return on investment going to be. I mean, we know that their audience is going to be guaranteed to have a great time. We know that their audience is going to be guaranteed to, learn some things. But my profile being as it is, isn't going to get me that sort of figure. And it's wrong, I think, for speaker agents out there who tout the, who want new speakers to come through. We'll get you paid gigs. It'll be great. We'll command you a few £1,000s, and they'll take on people that aren't ready just for the sake of taking people onto the books, and they'll get them to pay to be on the books and all of that sort of stuff. And there's a lot of scamming going on out there, and there's a lot of selling of false hopes and false dreams. And, there's somebody out there right now on the speaker, helping women get on stage, and they pay to stand up on stage and speak in a lineup of 20 over the course of the day for 5 minutes, but they've got to pay for that privilege. And it's
right, go on.
Go on. Go on, please. I understand sometimes there is, when you're starting out, you've got to cut your teeth and you've got to go and speak in different places. Sometimes you don't get paid to speak in those places because you are raising your profile. And that's different.
And that has value. That has massive value. And, people who want to speak shouldn't underestimate that. If you can get a stage to speak on, that's amazing. That's really good. The fact that actually somebody wants to hear your story and they want their audience to hear that story, that's huge. So don't underestimate that for anybody who is starting out in businesses. What I say, if you get the opportunity to speak, go take it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because there are two ways you can make money speaking. One is getting paid to speak, and two, having a talk so compelling that they want to hang out with you afterwards and buy your stuff and stay with you on your journey. And actually, one has more longevity than the other. So if you've got a really compelling talk that will allow people to get on your bus and your destination is hanging out with you, you've got a great business model that people want to spend more time with you further on, then it's speaking, you're not really speaking for free if you've done the work to make sure that your talks are incredible. And then when you've done more of those, then you get to say to people like, okay, well, Hilary, given this now, what does that look like? But it's understanding for those of you out there that do want to be part of that journey. What do you need to do first? What did you need to do next? It's not, you don't wake up one morning and go, well, I'm dead good at speaking because my mate said I was dead good at speaking. And now I'm going to go tell my story and someone's going to pay me 65 grand to do it. I mean, I don't have that.
No, you're right. It doesn't. And the other thing to think about is that once you do get speaking, and if you are speaking on free stages, think about the product lines that you want to start to develop off the back of your speaking, because speaking is a door opening for you. So it's what you do with the opportunity that's the really important thing. So I have speakers that, deliver training, like I said before, masterclasses. They've written books on the back of it, and they're making the money from the books. They do collaborations with other people. They set up projects. They create their own events. So I help them with that. I help them with organising their events. Obviously, my background's events director. So that's another great opportunity. And yourself, Dani, when you ran your event, how that helped your profile and what that did as well, and you've already got, a big audience with and you've got great profile, but you're still doing events, raising your profile all the time. You're live every day, raising your profile.
I'll get paid for this
work at it, haven't you?
Yeah, and this is the work.
Yeah.
Every morning at 8 o'clock, Monday to Friday is profile. Come on, let's not. I am enjoying doing this, don't get me wrong, but why am I doing it every single day? It's not just to be accountable to you guys to get me out of bed in the morning. We make no secret of the fact that I won't be on telly. I'm only going to be on telly if I want to carry on showing up every single day, building my profile, making sure I'm growing my audience and all of this sort of stuff. But like you say, in fact, I was saying to you just before we started the show this morning, it was a year ago today that I did my first Show Up, Wise Up, Rise Up show in real life. So it's not be inspired where my graduates come and talk, but just a show just for me, so that I could create assets, so that I could create things like show reels and photography and, give my talks some legs, because some of the things that I spoke about during that day, I'd not run out before, and I needed to test out with an audience, which of these talks are going to work, what's going to get a reaction, what's going to make people laugh, and you don't know unless you try them out. So, as a speaker, as a business owner, having events allows you to litmus test whether what you're doing actually works or not. And again, knowing somebody like you for guidance and what have you it's what everybody needs in their back pocket if they're going to do this and do this well. I mean, I was lucky that I spent the last 7 years building. I was saying, spending the last 7 years going live, putting my makeup on live in my car and talking to people. And that's a lot. It's like, this is no overnight success for all the things that are happening this year. It's been 7 years of doing things for not very much money and not very much, output.
Yeah.
So then as soon as you've got the assets together and you get connected in the right places and people start to see you, and it just once that one influential person sees you, that can start the momentum going and can start the, like the blue touch paper, so to speak, once you've got all the things ready. But then it's knowing people who are connected and knowledgeable in those fields like yourselves is the only thing. What is it called again, please? Your group.
My group.
Yes, my darling.
Step Up, Stand Out.
Step Up, Stand Out. And what happens in that group? Like, talk to us about what happens in that group, because I've seen some incredible speakers in there.
Incredible strippers? Are we in the same group?
Well, I've worked in the burlesque community. Like, it's, I know all of the incredible strippers, but speakers, you've had
so
sharing knowledge.
Yeah, exactly. So quite a few of my speakers are in there, which is great, which is really good. So they dip in and dip out of conversation just as they're in there. Nothing's forced. I've got some sessions coming up that people have asked that we can do. So I've got some of the speakers coming in, and remember that when you become a speaker, you do become a bit of an expert as well in your own right. So you are teaching by default. Yeah. So just last night, I posted a recommendation that I had received that yesterday from the Professional Speakers Association. I've been one of the judges at a big Speaker Factor event recently. So they were kind enough and sent a recommendation. So even after all these years, I still gather recommendations, and I've made a point of putting it in the group just to say to people, isn't it great to receive them? What do you do with them? You should be using them. You should be shouting with them. Don't keep them in the bottom drawer or hidden under LinkedIn. Shout about these things because it's people shouting about you.
Yeah.
They're just simple things. Always ask for a recommendation.
Yeah.
Always ask. So and that started a conversation yesterday. So Anthony, who is the chair of the PSA in London, is going to come in and he's going to do a session. Just a chitty chatty session. It's very informal. Don't expect formal stuff in my life.
Yeah, but,
in my way. It's your conversation. That's what it's about.
And it is conversation. It's those conversations that unlock other conversations and then unlock opportunities. So even you and me, like we were on the same mastermind. We are on the same mastermind, sorry. And it was, there are things that we do that cross over. There are things that we do that are going to naturally cross over. We didn't know each other before, January. We were already on the paths that we were already going on. You've already got this incredible experience in this field. I've already got this incredible spiel, but there is a degree of crossover. Now, what can often happen is people go, oh God, right, well, there's someone in here and they're helping speakers. Well, I can help speakers. That's no good. Often so many people, and this happens in business. This is why I wanted to talk about this morning. You will enter groups, and there will be people whose skills will cross over, but they won't be the same. They won't be the same person. Their offerings won't be the same. And actually, the first thing we did when we got into that mastermind was get on the phone to each other and say, how can we help each other? Because what we're doing is important.
Yeah.
And when, just like now, I want you in my audience so I can share my audience with you so that you can have more people to share these incredible things with. Similarly, I know that there'll be a time, or just similarly with the big festoon, when you helped with Tessa Sanderson and bringing Tessa Sanderson in, there are so many ways that when you know other people that are in your field, know other people that you're in your industry, you are stronger together than you are not together. You are stronger linking arms, and collaboration over competition is absolutely where there's 7.5 billion people in the world, isn't there? There's 7.5 billion people in the world, and if you've got a group and I've got a group, but we both do different things with those groups, and it's important for us all. Like if I don't know, you might be a creative director out there, or you might be in PR if you're listening today, or you might be I don't know. You might be in criminal events, Diane Ivory, or there might be someone out there that does the same thing as you. But guess what? When you're at capacity, or when you're sold out of your particular thing and you don't have the thing to give anymore, or if there is a way that you can come together and help each other rise up, then isn't that the way that we should be doing business now? Women get a bad rap for being bitchy and for, having almost like our own little agendas. And I think the most beautiful thing about the worlds that we circulate in now, Hilary, is that this helping each other and collaboration is that important. What do you think?
Totally. And you see it more now given the pandemic, because obviously the events industry has been hit so hard. So I had 7 major events to deliver this year that have all been postponed. So that's been huge. The speaker bookings just dropped off. Just like that, gone. We're all still working. We're all still trying to earn money. But what I've seen is a fantastic collaboration started all over the place. Yeah. People are having time to talk to one another. They're working with each other to talk about new projects that they're potentially going to work together on. There's more training, collaboration happening. There's one thing that's happened is that people expect speakers to speak for free at the moment, which isn't good. So that's been going on for about 2 months, really, because we're not putting speakers in a physical space. They expect that the speaker will come for free, but actually,
with their expertise and their knowledge that is hard won and hard earned, and that's actually what people are paying for.
Yeah. Absolutely. And there has been a lot of giving, don't get me wrong, there has been a lot of giving, and we've done that in the brand activators. The first couple of weeks of lockdown, we put on Speaker Fest just to get the speakers out there, get them talking, get them sharing, just because it was a very quiet space at that time and people didn't know what to do. So we had a bit of that going on, but then we stopped that at that point. People who book speakers won't have to pay travel expenses, so we'll save a lot of money. They won't have to pay their expenses. Zoom, StreamYard, plenty of platforms out there that work brilliantly, but there has been an awful lot of giving, and the speakers aren't getting much of a remuneration from that at the moment. So from but it does show that the industry itself can come together, and it's not all about competition. And like you said, you and I work really well, both at doing our different bits in the industry, but helping speakers, helping people become change makers, helping them to be seen, helping them to step up, helping them to thrive, and helping them to potentially build on their own business. And from that, they might go on to be a trainer, they might go on to create their own events, they might go on to create a book. Speaking is a platform, and it's also a springboard if you get it right.
Yeah, absolutely. Bloody hell, we're running out. Do you know what? No, I don't want you ever to be sorry. I just, honestly, the guests that we have on, Hilary, and obviously yourself included, we start these hours thinking, oh, it's an hour. How are we going to fill an hour up? And we just do every single time. And I could speak to you all day about this because, we're only really just scratching the surface of, all of your experiences. I know you've got stories for days, and weeks even, of all the things that, you've experienced and all the people that you help and all the people that, all of this sort of stuff. And if you do want to know more about that and you do want to hang out with Hilary more, I implore you to do so. She is a wonderful person to have in your world. It is Step Up and Stand Out is the name of her group. If you are an entrepreneur out there and you are wanting to move into speaking, there is nobody that knows the mechanics of speaking more than Hilary Dunne. So you need to go and hang out with her, go find out more about what she's getting up to. Hilary, you are wonderful.
Bless you. Thank you.
Me.
No, I loved it. Thank you.
Keep an eye out for all of the incredible things that Hilary has got coming up this year. I know there's been talks of all kinds of incredible masterminds and all sorts. So you need to keep your eyes peeled for the wonderful things that Hilary is doing. Get amongst it. I implore you. I will pop you backstage and we'll wrap out the show.
Yeah.
Hilary, I'll see you in a second. That was Hilary Dunne, everybody, from Brand Activators and also from the group Step Up and Stand Out. Collaboration over competition is something that is firmly close to my heart, and I know it is yours too. Can you believe, for those of you that are in the know, it has been 1 year since we did the Show Up, Rise Up show here in the north of England. It's given me a bit of food for thought, actually. We do have Be Inspired that we do twice a year, where all of my graduates come and speak, and we create the show reels and their branding, photography, and all that sort of stuff. But I wonder if there's a little space for a little Show Up, Rise Up show. I'm gonna have a little think about that and see if we can pull in different speakers and have a little experience that way. I'm going to give that some thought for the rest of the day and let you know how I get on with thinking about that. But yeah, it's been a year since live eventing for IATQB has been a thing. What a year it has been. It really was kind of the birth of all of this that you see now. What a 12 months. Thank you to everybody that has supported my journey. Thank you to everybody that has supported the IATQB movement, for everybody that collaborates and doesn't compete, for everybody that links arms, that festoons, for everybody that waggle dances, and for everybody that is a member of the IATQB Hive, which is my free group, where we carry on the conversation. A really safe place to network for your business, whatever stage you are at, whether you are, a multi-seven figure or whether you're just starting out. We have something for everybody in there. And it is a pretty awesome space to be in. You can catch me Monday to Friday, 8 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow, let me share with you who we have tomorrow. I got to check now. There's that many of you. Do you know that we are now booked up till October on this show? Every single day we are booked up till October. We've got the fabulous Sari Taylor is going to be joining us tomorrow. Good morning, Liz Staddon. I'm fine, thank you. We're just about to wrap up and let you guys get on with your day. Happy Thursday, everybody. We're almost at the weekend. We've almost survived another week. You guys are incredible. Make sure you're following me on the Instagram if you don't already, at the Queen Bee Dani. Go and do it now, and I will see you tomorrow for some more showing up, wising up, and rising up. I'll see you later.